We did it. We started in '65. We did the pilot. Started shooting around December of '64, and went on the air in that September of '65. And we did it 3 years, and then in some areas of the world, it's never been off the air. Like Australia, they finished the 3-year run and then started all over again. And I've just recently learned that we are a big smash in Brazil, where there's a website for us, and people are... I've noticed that the increase of fan mail from Brazil, and they just go bonkers.
Well, originally the pilot was very serious. It was a drama, and it was about this family. And they took the pilot and divided it into 6 episodes and brought in Jonathan Harris's character, Dr. Smith. And he kind of created this character, which we were all aware of, which just kind of changed the shape of the show. And it became more humorous. And it was then Star Trek came on, and they were like taking the drama side, and we were trying kind of taking the comedy side. But it was so popular. People loved it.
I have to tell you, I think sometimes it looks like it was made in somebody's backyard. I mean, it reminded me of Buster Crabbe, and with the little tinsel balls being thrown across as meteors. But and it had, and I think that was part of its charm. It had that kind of look of sort of a homemade movie kind of look, and I mean. The monsters, who you could see the zippers, and the bloop who had the hat that, it was obvious that you could see the hat line. But that was part of the charm, and the kids didn't care.
It was an immediate success, and we got excellent reviews from people that you'd least expect, like Jack Gould of the New York Times. I remember I get the Times every day, and so I read this review, and I phoned up Irwin Allen, the producer. I said, "Have you seen the New York Times today?" He said, "No, sweetheart, what's it say?" And so I read him the review, and it commented on things that were, first of all, about the sophistication of the hardware and the set and things like that, and about the qualities within each of our characters. And it was really a great appreciation he had for it. So Irwin took a big ad in the Hollywood Reporter and the Daily Variety and reprinted the review completely. And it was interesting to see what people were really led to enjoy it on another level, because it was really a kids' show that was on at night, on Wednesday nights at 8 o'clock, Matter of fact, one of the executives from CBS, when he first saw the pilot, said, "It's a hell of a lot of money to spend on a Saturday morning show."
First of all, I think science fiction is very big. I think people love to kind of dream about things that hadn't happened or will happen or could happen, or they like eeriness and stuff like that. I think when the show came out, it was closer to the space program. And I know I was enamored with the whole space program. And I think a lot of people were, hanging on the fact that man could, walk on the moon and all of this stuff. And here was a family that was going to, kind of take off into space. And wouldn't that be cool, And wouldn't that be really neat to be able to do that and live on another planet? And I think it just kind of perked people's interests. And then, the aliens and stuff like that. I mean, people love that. We had some really weird aliens.
Oh, we enjoyed each other very much, yes. Guy Williams is a very dear man, bright, funny, wonderful musicologist, classical music. And Jonathan, of course, was Jonathan and still is exactly the same. The kids were wonderful, and we have all kept in touch with each other all these years, which I think is nice. I think it might be unique in this business. They don't do it. We meet every 3 or 4 months for lunch at Fox. We've done a couple of conventions, which have been great fun. We did the 25th anniversary party and a 30th anniversary, and we did them both in Boston, and 30,000 people came through the gates each time to see us.
The one that comes to mind, that really sticks in my mind, is My Friend Mr. Nobody, the one where I talk to the air. I don't know, there was just something neat about that show. It was in black and white, which makes it kind of, different, and I just really like that show.
Was there a man in the robot? The answer is yes, there was. The second question is Dr. Smith really like that? The man, is Jonathan Harris really like that? And my answer is yes, he is the same on as off, and we'll be the first to tell you about it. It's a wonderful story he tells about himself, saying that somebody came up to him and said, Jonathan, that accent, are you English? And he'd say, oh, no, dear boy, I'm just affected.
What happened between you and Don? That's always the question. Why didn't they make more of a romance? Originally, we were supposed to have more love interest, but the network didn't want that. They nixed. In fact, they didn't want any kind of love interest on the show, even between Mom and Dad, Maureen and John. And they weren't allowed to touch. Oh no, don't even hold hands. You could only just use your eyes and look a certain way and at each other, but that was it. Mark and I, by the way, really, really enjoyed each other's company. And, you develop crushes on people when you work, and both of us were married, and so we never went anywhere with it, but we really, really liked each other, and I think that came across. I mean, we'd go out to lunch, and we'd flirt a little, and talk, and laugh, and giggle, and then go back, and everybody'd say, where were you? Oh, no.
Yeah, they had actually talked about it a long time ago, and I think the fans had asked for it a long time ago. And Billy actually wrote a treatment which had a pretty good idea. I mean, it was a neat concept for carrying the family on, because in the series, none of us. We just kind of ended. We never came back to Earth. We never died. Nothing happened. It just kind of ended. And it was kind of a shock, I think, to a lot of the fans. So he had come up with this idea of how to kind of resolve that, but then create this series to go on with new people.
That would have been great.